welcome to the 31st episode of Nina and Knitting. My name is Nina and I live here in Jyväskylä in central Finland with my husband, our two kids, and a dog. I'm not on Instagram, but you can find me on Ravelry as Ninima. And we also have a Ravelry group for this podcast, and that's called Nina and Knitting Podcast. You can find it by searching in the Groups tab or by clicking on the link down below here in the description box on YouTube. I'll add a link to this episode thread, which will include my show notes, links to my projects, and well, if there's anything else to let you know. I'll also include another link to the Cowl, which I'm not gonna go into too much detail today because it just started a week ago, a bit less than a week ago, and I made a short video, a separate video, sort of a launch of the Cowl. So if you're interested, I'll put a link to the kickoff video of the Cowl also here on YouTube in the description box down below. Right, today is Friday, April 6th, and I'm home alone. This is a rare occasion to me. My husband's at work and kids are at school and daycare, so I'm indoors because the weather is not nice outside. I did try and take a little bit of video with my cell phone when I had taken my daughter to daycare and was getting back home, riding my bike home, but my battery was really low. So at this point, I'm not sure how it turned out. The cell phone is charging, but if I got a video, then you will have seen it already. The weather is gray, and last time I said spring is not here. This time it looks as if winter has sort of made way to spring. But, well, in Finland, winter tends to make some comebacks. So we'll see. Anyway, at the moment, the snow is melting. It's muddy and wet, and at some places even icy, and well, spring, but not the good kind of spring when you have all the plants starting to push through the ground and all that. This is just the sort of battle between winter and spring. So you will have seen a video of it, or if it didn't work out, then yeah, there's a photo that I took, and I will have put it at the beginning of this episode. Anyway, enough about weather. I know every time I make an episode, I talk about weather. It's something that I think people in Nordic countries have in common. We often talk about weather because it is versatile, let's say. The Brits talk about weather a lot too. So maybe it's just an easy topic. Anyway, this time that subject is done. Tick. Yes. For the episode contents per se, I have 4 finished objects, and then I have 3 whips that I have been working on, and no purchases whatsoever. So that's all I have. Then I'll have a bit of chatter at the very end of the episode. So that's what we have in store for today. I made a separate video of my first finished object that I will insert here. As my first finished object after my last episode, I did finish the Gokstad hat that I showed you, and it's right here. So Gokstad hat is designed by Dubreux, and I used Ikke basic sock yarn, 75% wool, 25% nylon. This colorway is called Saint Urho. And like I said last time, oh my goodness, I really, really love how these thin stripes work in this pattern. So in the front you have this cable thing going on, and I really don't mind at all this pooling because it just adds a little bit of je ne sais quoi in the hat. This is where I was last time, so I had to knit just a little bit before the crown decreases. And well, if I show you the side of the hat, look how wonderfully these stripes work when you're doing a garter stitch, and then here are just a normal, I think, yeah, this is just rib, twisted rib or something. Anyway, 1 by 1 rib, and then you have garter sections. Oh wow, they really show these different stitches extremely well. It's a really fun hat. I'm gonna show you how it looks in my head, although it's not for me. In the pattern picture, the one that the designer had made was a lot more slouchy, but I'm a really tight knitter. So this rib I knit with 3.0 mil Knit Picks Symphony circular needle, and then the body of the hat I used 3.5 millimeter DPNs at first, and then at one point I bought myself some 3.0 mil, not 3.0, I made the same mistake last time, 3.5 mil tips for my interchangeables, Knit Picks Symphony tips, and the cable or the cord is also from Knit Picks. So I magic looped the rest of the hat, but it's great. And yeah, I know it's a little snug on my head. I'm hoping that the friend I made it for has a little smaller head maybe. And this is not the type of hat that you would use outdoors at the moment, because you know it's freezing outside, and this is a fingering weight hat. So fingering weight, which means that there are 420 meters in 100 grams of this yarn. Yeah, but you wouldn't wear this outside at the moment. You could in the springtime and in the fall, in the summer, if you like that. Or of course, there are these people who wear hats indoors, and yeah, it's a good enough hat for that. But yeah, if I was to make it for myself, yeah, under my bike helmet, because I commute by bike to work. This is actually really good because it's really snug in my head. But I hate doing patterns twice. And yes, I am going to make myself a hat to go under my bike helmet, but I'll try something else first, because this will be for a friend of mine. But yeah, for the size, this would be really good under a helmet, because you know it's not slouchy at all. But if you wanted a slouchier hat, then I think you would use bigger needles with my gauge, or maybe add a few stitches. I think there was only one. Let me check, because I have the pattern here. I think there was only one size in the pattern. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. yeah, just the one pattern. But of course, you know, if you wanted to add a few stitches, you could easily do that in the back of the beanie, because there isn't much going on in there. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's quite a fun hat. And you could maybe add a repeat of uh, this cable if you wanted to make it slouchier. Then again, I don't like slouchy hats are really not my thing. But yeah, this is maybe a little too snug even for my taste. My second finished object is also something you have seen before. They are the mitts that I was working on. I had only done the cuffs last time, I think, but now the mitts are done. There was a mystery knit-along in Deborah Tomasello's Ravelry group. The group is called Color Work by Debbie. I think I'll put it in the show notes. But yes, these are the mitts. So I had done the ribbing here, and I had told you how, you know, well, it's nice. It's nice and colorful. Let's say that. I'll grant it that. This corrugated rib, is really not my cup of tea. But then again, I'm not a fan of color work, and that's why I was doing these. But anyway, so they're nice, and so sort of a color pop in these mitts. The main yarn I use here is Lanitil Mix Machina 50/50 extra fine merino and baby alpaca. And I haven't seen any name for this colorway. But then this red here is Stranded Dye Works Paradise MCN. So it's 80% merino, 10% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And the color is called Poppy. And this yellow here is Rovas Ilmasoulu Merinosukkis, which is, I think, 75% merino, 25% nylon. And this colorway is called Aurinko. I've talked about these before when I showed you the beanie that goes with this set. So this is the set. It's already it's been released on Ravelry. I'll check. The name of the set is Slightly Stranded Winter Wheat by Deborah Tomasello. And there's the hat that I already showed you last time. This in many people's projects, this was very slouchy. It's a little loose, but not too slouchy in the way I did it. But anyway, it's a hat and a pair of mitts, and they're nice and colorful. And they're fingering weight yarn, so I think this time of the year would be okay to wear them here in Finland. But yeah, it was a fun cowl. She's very productive. She has a cowl every month, I think, in her group. I'll show you my my next project from her or from her pattern in my whips. But yeah, these mitts were done after our last episode. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention this turned or sort of a folded brim at the top of the mitt is pretty fun. The wrong, if you straighten it out, it's the wrong way out. So you once you had knit this far, you turned your work inside out and wrapped the yarn, and then started doing this rib. And it's a good idea, because some people like to wear their their mitts shorter, and if it's very cold, you might want to have a little bit of more fabric on your fingers, so you can sort of fold it like this. So it adds the versatility of the mitts. They're nice, and I really like the colors. They go pretty fun together. That's my second finished object. And I used my 3.0 millimeter US size 4 needles for that. Then my third finished object is something that some people have seen on my project page, because I took some videos or some photos of it this Easter. And I was working on it, and I had already finished it, almost finished it last time. Oh my goodness. I shouldn't have put the hat on. Anyway, yes, it's my daughter's sweater. It's really fun. This pattern is called Borrower. It's a paper pattern, as is the Deborah Tomasello set. This designer is Melissa Schaschwary. And yeah, the pups are not, the pictures here are not in the pattern, but this pattern is pretty nice and straightforward, I think. Pretty well written. I had no problems with it. I really like this garter panel here in the front. The pockets are nice. They also have a garter edge here, and then there's a garter edge here at the bottom of the sweater, and then at the cuffs of the sleeves. The yarn I used here is Dale Garn Falk, and the colorway is number 2827. And the pups here is just my own idea. I used some stitch patterns that I found online, and I did some double stitching and used some scrap yarns I had. So this is pretty nice. My daughter has worn it a little. Haven't washed it. I hope you can't see anything, anything that shouldn't be there. But yeah, really fun. The yarn is not, I think it's not, it's pretty okay for just your regular wool. I think this was 75% wool, 25% nylon, but it's not merino, and I think it's pretty nice. It's a DK weight yarn. Yeah, and there's no rib here, just sort of a round color. Pretty happy with it, and my daughter was also happy with it. I'll add the photo that I took of her this Easter here. Yeah, and the needles I used were 4.0 millimeter Knit Picks interchangeable sets, Knit Picks Symphony interchangeables. 4.5 millimeter is US size 7. Then my fourth finished object is a crochet project. I often say that this is my podcast about my knitting and some crochet, and it's been quite a while since I've shown you anything that I have crocheted, but this time I do. It's a beanie. I showed you this yarn when I had bought it. The pom-pom came with it. It is Mondial Lady or something. very, very thick yarn. It's 35% virgin merino, 50% or like 65% acrylic, some kind of acrylic. And there are about 140 meters in 100 grams. Very, very thick yarn. I used a really big hook, the biggest one I had in the set that I had bought on eBay a long time ago. So the hook was 9.0 millimeter, and according to Ravelry, that's M/N. I have no idea that system. Anyway, a big hook, and I started it. Let's see, here it is. That's the seam. I started it with 27 chain stitches, and then I turned around and started doing half double crochets starting from the second stitch from the hook. So I had 26 half double crochets. Then I turned the work and I did a row of front post half double crochets and then 26 of them, and then I turned the work. Chained one, sorry, always chained one at the beginning of the row, and then did a row of half double crochets, turned the work, chained one, did a row of front post half double crochets, and so on to get this sort of ribbing kind of effect to the beanie. And I had to redo it quite a few times because at first I didn't have enough width. I had started with, I think, 25, no, not 25, something, 24 stitches maybe, or something. And it turned out when I had, finished it as a beanie, it was just wasn't deep enough. So I ripped it all out and started again. And yeah, and it turned out pretty fun. At first I thought that I might try to straighten it out, but because it's a kind of a whirl effect here, but I don't think it's that bad. It looks pretty fun the way sort of turns. Yeah. Oh, you can't see it. The pom-pom. Here it is. Yeah. So I used up the yarn. It was fun enough. So I continued doing the rectangles so that I had enough circumference for my head. And then, where's the seam? Lost it again. Here. And then I turned around and did some slipped stitches through the beginning chain so that I could seam it up, and it became a tube. Then I cut my yarn and used a tapestry needle and closed the opening at one end, and then I added the pom-pom. Yeah, it's very thick and it's not something I would wear now, but it looks fun, and it'll be good for next winter. I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep it or if I'm gonna give it to somebody, but it was a fun and really, really quick project because it only took, once I had decided how many stitches I needed, what the width was, and it was just really, really quick to crochet it. Yeah, that's my fourth finished object. Then for my whips, I have Okay, let's start with the one that you have already seen before. It's the socks. It's the socks from Sukka-Finlandia, the 5th stage of Sukka-Finlandia. And I was knitting the 2nd sock in here. It's a toe-up sock. And I was here last time you seen this sock. So I have made some progress. The heel will go in here. It's an afterthought heel. But I still have, I have the other sock here somewhere. So I actually didn't have the sock and the first sock in here. But yeah, now you can see where I am at. So this is the stripe I'm doing now. This one. Then there will be a color work section, and then some more of this sort of made, my color A, and then the ribbing and the bind off. The pattern called for I-cord bind off. I talked about this when I showed you the first sock before. It just doesn't work for me, and actually I'm just not loving it in this sock anyway, so I'm just going to rip it back and bind it off normally, and that's what I will do for this sock that I'm working on at the moment. I'm using my 2.5 millimeter Haya sharps as my needles, and the 2.5 millimeter is US size 1.5. And the yarns here are Kaupunkilanka, Keskustori, fingering weight yarn, finish one, 75% wool, 25% nylon. The green here is Drops-Fowl, which is also a fingering weight yarn. This colorway is number 112. And then this blue here also is Drops-Fowl. It's colorway 103. And that's what I'm using. They're all fingering weight yarns. Sorry. Yeah, so I'll finish this sock and then I'll rip back the bind off from the first sock, and then they'll be done. I'll try and block them and see if they start looking like a sock after blocking, because it looks quite funny now. Anyway, yeah, I was talking about my Haya sharps. So I really like the tip here. As you can see, you use quite a bit of short rows here in the socks. The pattern calls for German short rows, and there's a specific way you knit the duplicate, double stitch, whatever it is, the one that you turn on or turn when the one that is your turning stitch in a way. So I really like it that the tip of the needle is so sharp, and like I've said before, I don't poke my finger at all. I slide the stitches off the needle, so I really like the tips of these. But like I said when I talked about these last time, this cord is not fun. After I finish with this project, I will have to try and put it in hot water again and try and get it straightened out, because as it is, it's really not fun. It's not a fun thing to have. And the cord's so crooked all the time. But yeah, I am hoping to finish these socks pretty fast, because I'm not allowing myself to do anything else before I have these done. Because, you know, I don't have that much more to do. Yeah, the color is, like I've said, color work and me, we're not friends. But I'm trying to work on it, and that's why I chose to do that project. Yes, that's my first whip that I am working on at the moment, and I hope to finish pretty quickly. Then the project that I sort of referred to just a little earlier, a pattern by Deborah Tomasello in her group, and it's living in one of the bags that I made when I was sewing last week before that, something like that. And so these are the drawstring bags, sort of my trial versions for the Cowl prizes. So this is not a hugely big one. There's some old jeans here at the bottom. This one is something I've also used for a pair of pants, but this was a fabric and not from the pants themselves. These were the pants. And then I had some nice red ribbon that I used for the drawstring. And then some, this used to be a negligee. There's the pocket of the jeans, and then this keychain where you could put your stitch markers or something. Yeah, but this fabric, very, very slippery. I don't recommend it to anybody who wants to, wants not to lose their sanity. Because it wasn't fun to cut. It wasn't fun to sew either. But yeah, I did. And it is really, really pretty. That's why I chose it. And I think it looks really nice with with the jeans fabric. And as before, you could fold it down. And yeah, it's really pretty. But oh wow, it was a pain in the neck to sew this. Anyway, I did, and I finished it, and that's fine. That's the bag. Little segue. But the project that's living in the bag by Deborah Tomasello is a cowl. It's a mystery cowl. Once again, one of these mysteries. And this is, she says it's Japanese lace. I think I've seen the Japanese lace stitch pattern book, whatever, sort of a Bible, in many podcasts, and they're really nice. But yeah, she's come up with her own pattern, and this is just one repeat of it. I think you can see it pretty well. The yarn I use here is not maybe ideal for some intricate lace. This is Drops Delight. It's 75% superwash wool, 25% polyamide, and there are 175 meters in 50 grams. And this is just some yarn that I've gotten a while back. It was on sale, and I haven't made anything out of it. So I thought, okay, I'll try the cowl. And I know maybe it's not ideal, but in a way I kind of like it, how the color changes. And once I get more repeats of this same motif, I think it's gonna look pretty nice. Yeah, but I only did one repeat because I wasn't at that point when I had finished it. I wasn't sure if there was gonna be a different kind of motif after this, or if you were to repeat the same for as long as we wanted the cowl to go. But yeah, so this is what I've been also knitting, and I used my 4.0 millimeter Chogu needles in this project. This cord is really too long for this cowl, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. Just a little stupid because the width of the project is only like maybe 40 centimeters, and then I have really long cable or cord, but you know, it's fine. This is one of my projects, and it's waiting for the socks to be finished, and then I will knit some more of it. And then my own cowl project. I've posted a picture in the cowl thread already because I finished the yoke. But of course, I also made a bag for that one too. This bottom part is corduroy, and there's dog hair on it. Maybe you can see it. It's black. Then there's this red fabric, and if you look at it close enough, you'll see that I think they're mistletoes or something. So yeah, I think this is a fabric that I used for making some Christmas curtains and a table runner, but it goes nicely together with the black, so that's why I chose it. And then I have some white ribbon that I had, and the inside is sort of a dark green. It looks really dark on my screen at the moment. It's not as dark in real life. Yeah, and then there's a pocket and a keyring for stitch markers here inside the bag, and you can fold it over like this. But yes, the project that I have in here, let me turn the page. It is the lovely lace leaf yoke t-shirt by Vera Sanon, and here's the yoke. So I finished the yoke. You started with a provisional cast on. I used the one with a crochet chain, and then here's the yoke that I have finished and blocked, because I have a picture of it blocking. So let's see. Can I see anything? Yeah. I swatched, and my swatch was pretty good. I'm using 4.0 millimeter US size 6 needles, and we'll see how it looks once I get some sleeves and the body and some sleeves. But at the moment, well, the yoke is pretty big. I think it's bigger, maybe a little bigger than it seems on the pattern photo, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I love the project itself. I love the color. It's really pretty. And yes, I don't know if it's light teal or aqua or whatever it is, but it's really pretty nonetheless. And I may have made some mistakes here in the lace. There were some double stitch decreases or something. And there was a legend, but the legend only had some acronyms of the stitches, and this particular decrease was something that I didn't recognize from, you know, the acronym. So I just figured that, okay, you decrease 2, and it's forward slanting decrease or something, and then I tried something else. Yeah, this looks fine. And I'm not totally sure that it was the right kind of decrease, because actually the one that I made was I think it was the double centered decrease or something, whatever that's called. Something that I actually did afterwards here in the middle of the motif. But once it was here at one side of the motif, since you have the yarn over one side and then the decrease, it looks pretty okay. I don't mind. It'll be nice. Yes, and the yarn is just so pretty. Right, so let's see if I can get it to show. It's a very gray day, but still, I think the light coming from the window in front of me is pretty good. So this is how it looks. I don't think you can see the shine of the yarn, but well, definitely you can see how pretty it looks. And the color looks on my screen a lot bluer. It's actually more green than what it looks to me. But yeah, the yarn I used here is Järvugarn Tropique. I showed it to you last time when I had bought it. The colorway is number 55025, and there are 50-gram balls, and this is how much I have left of the second 50-gram ball. So there's almost 100 grams in the yoke in here. And this yarn is 50% bamboo, 25% cotton, and 25% acrylic. And it's very, very soft. 100% cotton yarn, I think, feels pretty hard and stiff, but this is actually very soft and very, very shiny and nice. Yeah, I really love this project, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it after I get those socks finished. And then I'll just, do the cowl and this shirt whenever I feel like knitting on one of them. So I don't think I will want to finish one of them and then continue with the next one. Yeah, those were my works in progress. And this is a little bigger. This bag is a little bigger. This came out pretty small. It's still a bit bigger than your normal sock size, I think, but you can't fit a shirt in this one. This is a little bigger, as you can see, but still, I think if you wanted to make a big, like a sweater, then this may be a little small for that one too. So the ones that I made for the cowl prizes are just a little bit bigger than this one. Okay, then for some chatter. First of all, I want to thank you, everyone who watches this, and if you're a new viewer, I hope that you decide to stick around and subscribe. And if you're a returning viewer, I really think it's really a lot of fun when people leave me some comments, and it's great to see that people like this. I've noticed that there's always one thumbs down in my recent videos. If you have any suggestions, I do welcome them, and if there's something I can do about it, I will. but you know, it's a mysterious thumbs down. And no, it's not the end of the world, and no, I'm not too sad about it, but it's been pretty strange maybe to see that there's always one thumbs down and then some that are thumbs up. Anyway, you can do or leave whichever you feel like. They're all welcome. And of course, if you want to comment here on YouTube under the video, that's fine. Or use the link that I put in the description box and leave some comments and chatter in the episode thread. But also, since I opened the Cowl thread in my group, I've been happy to realize or happy to found some chatter going on in there. People are starting their projects, and we have our first finished objects already. So that is a lot of fun. Yeah, the Cowl will go on until the end of May, so you have plenty of time to leave comments and plenty of time to chat. And of course, if you want to share your stage photos, like this is where I'm at the moment, then yeah, it'll be all just fun to see. Right, and then another thing, last time I mentioned that I've stopped watching vlogs, and then I just went on and on about podcasts that have a lot really long episodes, and vlogs are not long. So that was very coherent, wasn't it? Anyway, but yes. So I actually didn't tell you at all why I don't watch vlogs really, but you know, I think it's more of they're not really my thing. They're not something that I would do because my life isn't that exciting, and editing videos and uploading them onto YouTube, you know, I have other things to do, and or there are other things that I choose to do. I know if I wanted to, I could make some time to do vlogs, but it's just not my thing. Why I watch podcasts is that I enjoy listening to people talk about their projects, their yarns, the patterns they've used or maybe that they have designed themselves. I enjoy it, and I enjoy hearing their trials and errors and their successes and all that. And when they show you different yarns or projects, I think that is what is interesting to me. And vlogs tend to be more of those day-to-day life things that you do, and it's I do think that it's fun to know something about people's like private life, or well, it doesn't have to be private, but their life outside knitting and crafting. But in the vlogs, they tend to be the main thing, I think, and then maybe a little bit of yarn or just a glimpse of a project or something. So that's mainly why I prefer podcasts to vlogs. That's it. So I think that's about it. We have this small yarn or crafts or something fair here in Jyväskylä this weekend, but I'm not quite sure if I'm going. I don't think that I have any friends that are going, so I would want to go with them. I have yarn, quite a bit of yarn. I know that I haven't bought the yarn for the Cowl prizes, and I will, but I have time, and I actually have few ideas, and it's something that I'll order online. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna go or not. Maybe I will. Besides, I'm at home alone with the kids for the weekend since my husband is working and won't be back until, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday. So so our older kid is 14, so I have no worries with him. But the younger one, she's 5, so going to the fair with her is not an option. But I'll see if I can negotiate some babysitting from her older brother. If mommy will be allowed to go to the fair, and if the kids will stay at home for a while, because he's a big boy and she is quite a big girl, but not old enough to stay at home alone. But I do leave them together when I go out and walk the dog, or if I have some pretty quick errands to run at the center. So it's fine in here in Finland. I don't know if it will be frowned upon in other countries, but in Finland it's fine to leave a 14-year-old taking care of a 5-year-old for a while. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, and next time I'll tell you if I went or didn't.
Okay, one thing that I forgot to tell you. I'm gonna insert 2 videos here at the end of the episode, and they were taken on consecutive days, last Monday at around 6 p.m. and last Tuesday at right about the same time. And that'll just give you some idea of what the weather is like here in Finland at this time of the year. But I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and until then, take care.